Jeff, you can book a wrestling dream card of matches. Dream matches. What does your card look like? Wrestlers from any era, dead or alive, all count. Okay, that's going to be a topic. I will have this topic as a full show on the Jeff Meach'S Network. I will book that card. And, of course, the mic muted when I went to go open the goddamn can. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Meach'S Musings here on the many outlets of Jeff Meach'S. Yes, I am on the Jeff Meach'S Network today. I am on Aaron Riff's No DQ YouTube channel, and I am on the Greg Cherry brand. And Greg Cherry actually is in the comments. So God bless Greg Cherry. There he is. I want everyone watching to tweet hashtag Cherry for Quizlemania and get that sumbitch trending. So there you go. There it is. Greg, do me a favor when you get a chance. How'd you make the comments look like this? This is awesome. My comments will look like this on my site. I want to know why it looks this cool. I love it. I mean, if it's an update that StreamYard did, awesome. So this was an idea that was presented to me last week on Talk Wrestling. If you guys watched my pre-Thunderdome entrance, if you will, into Monday Night Raw, I got a question from Richard Morales asking me what my fantasy card would be if I were to book a dream match scenario card. And I went, you know what? That's a damn good topic. I'm going to embellish the shit out of that and go ankle deep, elbows deep, neck deep, whatever, however far I went. I didn't know where I was going to go with it. So I went to go book this over the weekend after Payback, because I was still very wound up because Payback was actually a damn good show. And by the way, Colin Andrew, you're a handsome SOB yourself. I love you, brother. Happy anniversary to you and your lovely lady. Awesome stuff. If you found that love, hang on to it tight, brother. It's a fleeting thing at times, and if you've got it, stick with it, brother, and cherish it. All right. Anyway, enough of the shappies. So I ended up settling on. It ended up being like 14 matches is what it ended up being at the end of the day. And then, of course, I made the mistake, as I do, of asking some friends, what would you do if you were in my... I now have 36 matches for this enormous event. So what I've decided to do is make the pitch, throw it out there, let you guys know what I'm thinking of my dream match scenario, and then I'm going to make a plea at the very end of this for anybody out there that is knowledgeable in this what I'm going to suggest and ask for, if they can help me out with this, because you will be heavily involved in the presentation of the start of year 2 of the Jeff Meach'S Network, if you choose to partake. And let me just go ahead and throw that up there. We are multi-branded today here on the Jeff Meach'S Musings. So there is that. And Richard Morales is indeed here for this. He's the man. It's his fault. What you are about to see is this man's fault. So keep that in mind as we go along. Okay. So I wanted to really get the weekend kicked off like gangbusters, and with a solid match that would make the crowd go, really go ape shit. And I thought about two people that I have a tremendous amount of respect for, who both were technically amazing, could be a technically technically sound world champions, and they both were when they were world champions. And it's one of those things where anything can open this card because everything here is a dream match, in my opinion. So what I am starting with is a battle of two WWE Hall of Famers. Yes, my show is going to last longer than WrestleMania. I have this booked for 4 nights, 9 matches a night. That's what I've got going on. And yes, Richard, you do take full responsibility. This is your bad. This is your bad. All right. I'm going to start off night 1, and we'll call it Thursday night. That way we go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday night's going to kick off with Eddie Guerrero versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. There you go. Starting off hot. 2 of the greatest high flyers in the history of the game. 2 of the greatest underrated, I feel, during their championship reigns, world champions of all time. More so Steamboat because he was the NWA champion, and the NWA champion wasn't, in the national spotlight as much as the WWF championship was in '89. So that's how I would start my show. I would send Eddie Guerrero and Ricky Steamboat to the ring and go, all right, guys, you do you. Show me why you guys should be on last Sunday rather than here on Thursday. And damn it, they would. They would go out there and whoop, as Keith Lee would say, whoop that ass for the crowd in the Meach'S Dome. We're going to call it that. So anyway, that's how I would start. Then I would get into the tag team scene of my card, and I would get 2 teams together that I have seen compete together. I may have even seen them face each other on the independent circuit. I don't remember. I saw so many independent shows in my time going to indies between 2003 and 2000, whatever it was, the last indie show I was, 1819. Alex James, Who Goes Over. I'm going to leave all that till the end, and I'll tell you why. So stand by there on Who Goes Over. I would, once Eddie and Ray, wow, that shows how conditioned I am, right? Once Eddie and Ricky were done, they would go back. The crowd would, what's going to happen next? I'd get a great tag team match between 2 of the best independent tag teams I ever saw compete in independent rings. They all happened to make it to WWE. They just never competed. One team never actually made it to WWE TV as a team. I would put Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against the man I know is Claudio Castagnoli and Chris Hero. The Kings of Wrestling against Owens and Zayn. That's what I would do for match number 2. It just makes the damnedest of senses. I love Ono and Cesaro, and I love Owens and Zayn. I loved Owens and Zayn when they were Generico and Steen. So, that shows how far back I go, right? So I would definitely get those guys in there on the tag team match to have match number 2. That's what I would do for the second match of Thursday night, my opening night. Then we get into a little bit of main event tall cotton, if you will, because you've got 2 guys coming up in match number 3. Both have been world champion many times over. Both have been secondary champion many times over. So I do this, that's okay. Both have been stalwarts of their respective companies when they were there. One guy has since gone on and done amazing things for himself in his post-wrestling life, although he's still very much involved in wrestling. We actually saw him 2 years ago tonight in the corner of the man who would become NWA champion, Cody Rhodes. Of course, I'm referring to the man behind You're Not Your Mama's Yoga, talking about Diamond Dallas Page versus Randy Orton. The battle of the falling cutters, the RKO versus the Diamond Cutter. I've wanted to see that match for the longest time, right? I would love to see that one-on-one in a WWE ring, or actually my ring, my show. Ruben Garcia, hang on. Alex James says, what city would these shows be in? 4 different cities or just 1 city? That's a good question. I didn't really go that deep into it, right? I would think I would have it in one show in each city. That way we get everybody gets a little rub, right? You know, we get one in LA, one in New York, one in Chicago, one in, somewhere in Texas. There we go. We'll do a Texas town. Ruben, I don't know if the Kings of Wrestling and Steen Jericho fought in Ring of Honor. I'd love to see the match if it did. I couldn't find it. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, but I would love to see it. There you go. Ken says, anyone know if Stunning Steve and DDP ever faced in WCW? I'm sure they have. I'm sure they did too. Although they were both heels before Steve left for ECW. So I don't know if the management would have had them touch. It's a good question though, Ken. All right. So match number 4 is my first females in competition. And it's a battle of a woman who is well deserving of her spot in the Hall of Fame versus a woman who is currently a little bit in flux right now. We don't know where you know what she's going to do. We saw her a little bit on Sunday at Payback during the main event, but we don't know where she stands right now. But I do know if she was in this match with this Hall of Famer, this match would kick serious ass. I'm talking about Alexa Bliss versus Jackie Moore. I think these two would have a tremendous match. Alexa's come so far in her time as an in-ring competitor, from, you know, doing the fitness thing and doing what she did before WWE, to one of the best all-around female competitors in the company. I adore Alexa. I think she's adorable. I love her to pieces, and I've actually got to meet Jackie. I love Jackie. She's a wonderful lady, class act all the way, treated me with respect at a time where, quite frankly, I hadn't earned it yet. I mean, I was, you know, a schlub at the hotel in Orlando during the Turning Point shenanigans back in 2004. So, you know, but she treated me like one of the boys, and I loved it. It was great. So that would be my 4th match, would be Bliss and Jackie. Adrian, I did get a suggestion to put Kong on this show. I did not get a Bertha Faye suggestion, and I'm glad I didn't, because I wouldn't book Bertha Faye. Kong may have been in there if I'd put Nia in there just to see how that would contrast, but I ultimately did not have Kong on the show. So, all right. Next up is another tag team match. We actually have seen this match before. If you're a fan of independent wrestling and you follow these teams throughout their careers, Trish is coming up. Stay tuned, Ken. Trish is coming up soon. Don't worry. I've got Trish. I would never not book my girl. Trish is my girl. But we have seen these two teams go before. And I want to see it again. But see, the thing I would do is I would book these guys in their primes. Like, I would take, for example, I would take Ricky Steamboat from like 88, 87, 89, right around, even before that, like in the early 80s and late 70s, against mid 2000s Eddie Guerrero. So that for the record, that's how I'm booking this, when these guys are in their primes, not, you know, now, because some of these guys are dead. So can't really do that if they're dead. Right. So, the next match, the tag team match I would put up next, I know it seems early in the card for a tag team match of this caliber, but I want to keep the show cooking with gas. The Rock and Roll Express against Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks. I was there the night Matt and Nick became the PWG Tag Team Champions for the very first time. And I have followed their career for so long. I love Matt and Nick. I actually managed Teddy Hart and our local champion here in the territory I used to work for, Marcus Riot, against Matt and Nick in one of their early matches outside of their promotions. So I love the Bucks. And I love the Rock and Roll Express. I didn't grow up on the Rock and Roll Express, right? Because I was a WWF guy, and by the time I came into my fandom, Ricky and Robert had already broken up. Matter of fact, the first thing I remember about the Rock and Roll Express is when Ricky turned on Robert and joined the York Foundation. Anybody else old enough to remember that? I am. So I never got to see the Rock and Roll Express in their prime except via videotape or, you know, on demand now on the WWE Network. So would love it. Going back to the previous match, Bull Nakano and Awesome Kong would be a great match. I would love to see that. I really would. That'd be an amazing matchup between two of the more underrated women competitors in history. All right. But when you talk about Awesome Kong and you talk about giants of the squared circle, there are two giants in the course of wrestling history that stand out above all else, and I would put them together for the very first and only time, and not just in any match. Oh no. I would put them in a match that only these two could have against one another. I would place, easy for me to say, right? I would place Andre the Giant against Big John Studd in a $1 million body slam challenge. Because you remember, WrestleMania, it was a $15,000 slam match. It's 2020. Inflation is a bitch. $1 million. Right? That's what I would do for Andre and the Big Show. Again, Paul White got his start in WCW being billed as the son of Andre. It very quickly, very quietly, just kidding, didn't mean it. So, we never really got to, get deep into that conversation. But I like to see them. I like to see a situation where these two would face off in a match where Big Show. Sorry, I said Big John Studd, didn't I? Because I keep thinking of the slam match. Sorry, guys. Thank you. Okay. Brainbusters are coming, Adrian. Settle in. No Great Khali. I'm not booking Great Khali on any of my shows. But I'd love to see the Big Show and Andre the Giant in a body slam challenge. All right. The next match we've also seen, if you are a fan of the original ECW. But we never got it on the big stage of WWE that I'm aware of. It could have been on an early SmackDown or early Raw in 1999, late 1999, early in this guy's WWF run. But it was referenced during the One's Hall of Fame speech that he never beat the other guy. And it was kind of lampooned right there on the stage. I would want to see, honest to God, I want to see this match. I want to see Mick Foley as Cactus Jack against Lionheart, Chris Jericho, on a grand stage. Not just, no disrespect to the ECW arena, but I want to see it on a big marquee stage. Chris Jericho versus Mick Foley, and I will book this one. Give Mick the win, for Christ's sakes. He never beat Chris Jericho. Not once. Give the Mixer the win, right? All right. Another tag team match I have booked for my night, my first night on the 4-night docket. And Ken, that's a good question. I didn't book this Extreme Rules, but sure, ECW rules. Why not? This is my semi-main for night one. This is the second to last match going on night one. It's a match that has been talked about from the minute that this one team got back together earlier this year, maybe late last year when one of the competitors came back. Anyway, it's a battle of two teams that are very similar in approach, very similar in attitudes, at least as far as the one team is right now. It would be arguably my favorite women's tag team of all time, Lay Cool versus the Golden Role Models. I want to see this match. I do. And I debated long and hard about where to put Sasha Banks. I really did. Because I really wanted to put Sasha with Trish, and then I wanted to get Bayley in there somewhere. There were so many things I was trying to do. It's like, wait a minute, I forgot about this match for Trish, so I'm gonna put Sasha with Bayley and have them face Lay Cool. People shit on Lay Cool, but I just love Michelle and Layla, and I've got to meet both of them. They're both wonderful people outside of their bitch characters, and if you can be Michelle McCool and tame the Undertaker, you got my respect forever. You really do. I love Lay Cool. I did. Matter of fact, somewhere in my archives on the Jeff Beacham Network, there's a video of JJ and I doing the top 10, I think top 10 top tag team, 50 tag teams of all time as ranked by WWE.com. And in that video, we talk about Lay Cool. And there's a video that somebody made. I don't know who made it. I don't know where it went. I don't know where it went now, but there's a video highlighting Lay Cool's time together and their breakup to the same song that Jessie the Cowgirl doll sings in Toy Story 2. It's so funny. I highly recommend you go back because I might take it down soon because WWE's shitting on me for it, as is Disney. So keep that in mind. D Ross 2 says, would you have the beautiful people in that match also? No. The beautiful people are coming later. Again, stand by. The beautiful people are coming. Now, in the main event for night 1 is a match that if you are a old school fan like me and have gone through the Golden Era and the Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression Era, and the PG Era, and the Modern Thunder, whatever the hell it's called, era, we all really clamor for and never ever got to see happen one-on-one. I would end night 1 of my dream card scenario with a battle of a Hall of Famer, 2-time Hall of Famer, versus a surefire Hall of Famer and the biggest movie star in the world, Shawn Michaels versus The Rock. That would be main event night 1. Can you imagine the classic match these guys could have? It would be nothing short of spectacular. I thought about making it Iron Man, but I didn't want to go, the night to go forever, although I really do. So if I were to have an Iron Man match anywhere in this scenario, it would be right here between Shawn Michaels and The Rock. That's what I would do going into the end of night 1. That would be exactly nip up at the end, just like Benjamin and Shawn. Yeah, exactly. Nip at the same time. Ken gets the booking. He understands it. He gets it. But again, there were backstage politics, which is why Shawn didn't face The Rock during Shawn's DX era before he retired. So it's definitely there. The politics are definitely there. No question. Again, Colin, I'm gonna leave who I'm gonna put over until the very end of this booking scenario. So there is that. So that's the end of night 1, and what a hell way to finish, right? We got a hell of a finish there with The Rock versus Shawn Michaels. Michael Gonzalez has been here the whole time. I think it's nip up, but I've also heard kip up, Ken. So I kind of waver back and forth. All right. So today's Tuesday. So with that, I will give you commercial number 1. Oh, just kidding. Not a commercial. I hit the wrong button. Okay. Brain fart. Here we go. All right. The viewer, by the way, the viewer poll for the 23rd is also closed on Meach's podcast. I did not end up getting to edit that, but the vote went to the Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for Unforgiven No One. So that'll be on the 23rd. There are 9 matches each night, Adrian. There will be 9 matches each night. So there you go. That's how that's going to go. Ken says, I'm going to miss Morrow. Man, he was our Gordon Soley. I agree with that. Dustin Herrick with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Dustin. Who with Owen Hart would make a 5-star match? I didn't actually book Owen in what would be a 5-star match, although if the teams are in their primes, maybe. Owen's coming up. Stand by for Owen Hart. And Richard Rouse with a $2 super chat. Who is commentating on each night of matches? Didn't really go there. But again, we will book that momentarily. It is Morrow's second time leaving officially that we know of. So there is that. All right, on to night 2, and I think night 2 should open just as barn burner, just as kick ass as night 1 did. And I'm going to have night 2, so Friday night, start with 3 daring, scary, crazy words: tables, ladders, chairs, and in the match, oh my, Edge versus Seth Rollins. That's what I would start off night 2 with. Edge versus Seth Rollins in a tables, ladders, and chairs match. Yes, absolutely. Prepare to flip your shit, but they are coming up, Richard. They are coming up. So there you go. Yeah. I want to see Seth Rollins and Edge in a TLC match. Edge is the master of the TLC, as we know, and I think Seth Rollins could do great things in a TLC match. So that's what I would do for my first match of night 2. Second match, I couldn't find a decent graphic of the two teams in their primes together, as far as like a fan, and I didn't want to dick around with fantasy graphics because I was doing too much of that as it is. So I just found a picture of all 4 of them together. One team is Hall of Famers, legendary Hall of Famers, as part of a bigger package, if you will. As far as Edge and Seth's face versus heel, I would actually have Seth be the babyface only because Edge is a much better heel than he was a babyface, in my opinion. I forgot about Mr. Perfect. I just realized that I don't have Kurt Hennig booked on this show, and I am a fool for that. I am sorry. I will find a way to get Kurt in there. Let's see. Somebody mentioned somebody earlier that I also didn't have, so we will put Kurt with, actually all 4 of those guys were there. Poopy. Anyway, we'll figure out something for Kurt too. Maybe we have Kurt on commentary because Kurt's a great commentator too. Mr. Hennig, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. All right, so the tag team match I would put up is against a Hall of Fame team versus a team that has been the source of much news and controversy in the last 8 months, or actually 9 months now, because we're into 8 months because we're at the end of August. I would put the Brainbusters versus FTR. And let the former Revival's proverbial wet dream come true. There you go. Steamboat is in the opening match, Adrian. I mentioned earlier, he's facing Eddie Guerrero. Let me just go back there and fill it up there one more time. Eddie Guerrero is in the opening contest of night 1 against Ricky Steamboat. So there's where those two guys are. Thank you, cool brothers. Appreciate you helping me out there. No, Ken. I wasn't taking your disrespect. I wasn't assuming disrespect. Don't worry about it. You're good, brother. You're good. All right. So match 3, night 2. On we go. Match 3, night 2 would be a match of psychology. Match 3, night 2, or night 2, match 3, if you want to be proverbially grammatically correct, I guess. Not that I can say anything correctly today. Would be a battle of 2 guys who would completely mind F each other, or attempt to anyway. You're not going to mind F either one of these guys. And in the end, it would come down to who has the better DDT. Raven or Jake the Snake Roberts. Oh my God, I'm having a moment imagining these 2 guys just tearing each other apart psychologically and waging war. And it would be tremendous. Maybe having maybe a snake pit match or something, right? That'd be cool. I'd dig that the most. Bret Hart is coming. Stand by for the Hitman. All right. Next up is another women's match, and I added this one last minute. I'll fully admit that because one of the participants I really wanted in there and forgot about her until I was late in the booking process, and I forgot. So I wanted to get her in there, and I couldn't think of who am I going to put her with. I thought, you know what? her opponent definitely deserves to be on there because, yes, her opponent was a great manager, primarily in my lifetime as a fan, but she was one of the best women's wrestlers of all time prior to staying at ringside full time. I'm talking about a surefire Hall of Famer versus an already Hall of Famer. I am talking about a battle of crazy ladies, Mickie James and Sensational Sherri. Just tremendous ladies, great workers, both a little cuckoo, a little bit psycho, a little bit psycho. That's the only time I'm going to sing, I promise. I know Aaron's the only one that sings on his channel, so I'm trying to make sure he keeps his gimmick. Anyway, Sherri and Mickie, I think, would have a tremendous matchup, a battle of two of the greatest women's champions of all time in any company, and they would do great things in the ring. Now, when you talk about the independent tag team match I had earlier between the Kings of Wrestling and Steen Erico, Owens and Zayn, these two guys have faced off a couple times on the independent circuit, primarily in one company. I will admit that. Yes, Ken, you're right. Waller did mention that Sherri reminds him of Mickie James, and Mickie even smiled at that. She was very honored by that comparison. I remember that very well. These two guys faced off many times in the Indies, particularly in Ring of Honor, but I want to see it on a WWE style stage. And the way these two guys have been more over now than they, especially the first guy, I want to see it one more time on my show. I want to see Adam Cole, baby, versus Jay Lethal on my show. And I know it's not a dream match anymore because it's happened, and it just kind of is what it is, right? But I want to see it. I want to see it. I love both those guys. I thought Adam Cole did a wonderful job at TakeOver, and Pat did a great job too with it. Pat McAfee, to his credit, kicked some serious ass. So I was thoroughly impressed. Okay, the next one is a 6-person mixed tag team match. Again, there are people in here I couldn't think of where to put them, especially the one female who used to be in WWE that's in this match. But I ended up putting her with her old tag team, her running mates, running buddies, and I put the three of them against a team who you don't see a lot right now because they've been in a little bit of trouble, but I think it would be a great 6-man or 6-person, I should say, tag team match. And it would be Eminem versus Naomi and the Usos. Oh, yes. Without question. Would love to see it. Would love to see these two teams go at it. Mercury and Nitro in their prime as a team, with Melina looking as only she can look and doing her thing in the ring. And you got Naomi, who, is, again, grossly overlooked, and the Usos, who, when they got their heads on straight, one of the best tag teams of all time. Great match there. All right. So after that, what I would do is put together a street fight between two guys who knew the word street fight meant they were turned loose. One guy is still being turned loose in street fight scenarios. As a matter of fact, the one guy in my match on match 7 of night 2 is competing this Saturday in a high-profile match on AEW All Out. He is defending the AEW Championship. But on my show, he faces a guy who he went nose-to-nose with in WWE just a few years ago. I'm talking about Jon Moxley versus Roddy Piper in a street fight. Turn these sumbitches loose. No holds barred. Let the fall count in the ring still, that we get the finish in the ring so everybody can see it. But turn these crazy bastards loose. Tear the place down, whatever. Leave ringside and the whole arena a rubble, and just let the next two matches pick up the pieces. Because I'm crazy too. Piper and Moxley. Oh my God. That was a suggestion by, I believe, JJ. So thank you, JJ, for that. I appreciate that. And yes, the promos between Moxley and Piper would be the stuff of legends, without question. I'd pay for it just to see that. So just Piper's underrated as a worker. I will tell you that, Ken. Piper doesn't get enough credit. He is a solid worker. Bob, I am going to make this show available in podcast form. Yes. Talk Wrestling actually is on podcast form from yesterday. I just forgot to plug it because I'm lazy. I just forgot. So Goldust is coming. Stand by. Let's see here. So my semi-main would be another women's tag team match. And yes, it is 2 tag teams that a lot of you have mentioned already in the course of my list here. I would place the Beautiful People, Angelina Love and Velvet Sky, against the WWE Hall of Famers, Nikki and Brie, the Bella Twins. Again, very much like Lay Cool and the Golden Models, the Mean Girls gimmick, right? But when the Bellas were cooking with gas, all I heard was them being compared to Angelina and Velvet. So there you go. It writes itself. It really does. So there you go. That's my semi-main for night 2. That would be the. I didn't say bathroom break match, but after Moxley and Piper, you may need to clean the shit out of your drawers from all the crazy spots. So might not be a bad idea to go to the pisser and the pooper. Just clean yourself up, because you got to get back for the main event. You got to get back for this main event that I don't think has ever happened that I know of. And if it has happened, I need to find a video of it because I want to see it. But my main event for night 2 is John Cena versus Ric Flair. The battle of in WWE's opinion, the top winningest world heavyweight champions of all time. Now, if you ask Nate, if you ask me, Flair's got more than 16. Right, he does. So John being at 17 time, if he gets there, doesn't that's not the appeal to me. The appeal to me is 2 of the best ever doing their thing in a high profile stage. Ken says Jeff Meacham, that would be shades of Ric Flair versus Barry Windham. Man, I'm thinking the same thing. Because John Cena's got that Barry Windham feel, I think, to him. Just tough as nails, gritty when he needs to be. I love that. The Hulkster is coming, Adrian. Stand by. Hulkster's coming. So, all right. So that's my main event of night 2. So with that comes another glorious Jeff Meacham produced commercial for the Jeff Meacham Network. That's right. That's coming up again every other Friday on the Jeff Meacham Network. Of course, the Fridays that I don't have dads is the days that Wrestling Trivia Challenge airs on the Greg Cherry brand. So don't forget to check that out over on the Greg Cherry brand. All right. So next up is night 3. Now, this may get me a little heat, but I think everybody, all 23 of you in this room, are hip enough to know that I'm not booking one of these guys based on the end. I'm booking this guy based on his overall body of work. And I'm booking him against a guy who, had they touched when they were both in their prime, would be magic. And it can only be a match of this caliber. It can only be a 30-minute ultimate submission match. Bryan Danielson, let me say that name again, Bryan Danielson versus Chris Benoit. Not Daniel Bryan, not Yeah, goat boy, not the yes man. I want the American friggin' dragon in the ring with the Canadian crippler. That's what I want to see in a 30-minute ultimate submission match. Bryan friggin' Danielson versus Chris Benoit, toe-to-toe, head-to-head. Turn the bulls loose. Holy shit. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Would love it. Would love it. And it would be a hell of a way to pop the crowd right out of the gate on Saturday night, right? So there's that. Now, a lot of you mentioned Owen so far, and I toiled so much about where to put Owen Hart because I couldn't not have Owen Hart on my show. That would be a disservice to the Rocket, the King of Hearts, the should-be Hall of Famer, right? That's what I would do. If I was a poor fan, then I would disregard Owen Hart, but I couldn't, and I wanted to get him involved in a tag team match. And the reason I say tag team match is because Owen was an amazing tag team wrestler in addition to being an amazing singles wrestler. So I put Owen with one partner that he had for quite a little bit of time against a former partner of his, and that partner's longtime tag team partner. It's All in the Family. It's the British Bulldogs against Owen Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart. We saw plenty of the British Bulldogs versus the Hart Foundation. How about the British Bulldogs against the New Foundation? How about we see that match? I think that'd be a great kind of a, not really a filler match necessarily after you have the freaking Danielson Benoit spectacle, but it'd be a great match to kind of wind the crowd down a little bit because you're not going to see a whole lot of high spots with the Bulldogs and the New Foundation. It's going to be power. It's going to be intensity. It's going to be pretty much a fight, but it's going to be a solid tag team match. That's what I would do there. Then I would invade your senses. I would completely go batshit crazy because is it really a Jeff Meach'S card without Rob Van Dam? I mean, are we really talking about a Jeff Meach'S show if you don't have the whole effing show on his show? No, you don't. And I thought, okay, who do I put Rob with? Who do I put Rob Van Dam with in a match where I've never seen Rob in a match with? And that I remember anyway. Brian Pillman, you know what? Book that, Ken. Brian Pillman referees the Bulldogs versus Owen and Anvil. There it is. Boom. There you go. Book that shit. Anyway, Rob Van Dam. I would put Rob Van Dam in a match against a guy who I don't think he ever touched one-on-one. There is a match where they were in a tag team match with each other. It was a three-way dance. It was RVD, Sabu, and Taz against Chris Candido, Bam Bam Bigelow, and the guy I would put against RVD on my show, the franchise, Shane Douglas. Extreme Rules. Book it in the ECW arena. Hell with it. Go via satellite to the 2300 arena and turn these two crazy kids loose. I know not everybody's a big fan of Rob. Not everybody's a big fan of Shane Douglas. I love both these guys. Both guys were on my show. Rob, of course, about 500 times if you ask certain people. But Shane was an early contributor to the success of Extreme Mayhem. And I love Shane. So I'd put him on my show and I'd put him against RVD because that's what I want to see. I want to see RVD against Shane Douglas. Then I would get my first women's match of night 3 on the card. And it would be the Man versus the Extreme Diva. Becky Lynch versus Lita. I want to see this match so badly. I wish Lita was completely cleared for action now, and I would just love if these two could touch at least once. It would be tremendous. These two are two of the greatest I've ever seen. Two of the nicest I've ever met live. They're both wonderful ladies to meet in person. Love them to pieces. And they'd be a great one-on-one match. And yes, Ken, Douglas would curse the hell out of Rob, and Rob would be like, Okay, and give a cool promo. The promos will be good there too. The promos on the show is going to be awesome, right? All right, next up is another tag team match that I had booked. It is a match where we've seen this kind of. We've seen 3 of these 4 guys in teams opposite each other before. 2 of the guys versus 1 of the guy, and the other guy had a different partner when they touched 29 years ago on a pay-per-view. I would book the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and his son, Goldust, against the Teds DiBiase, Sr. and Jr. The $1 Million Men against the American Dream and Goldust. I want to see that match. We all know my affinity for Dusty Rhodes. I have not been quiet about that. I love Dusty. I will forever love Dusty, and I appreciate what Dusty did for my early time in podcasting. I've met Dustin. I met him at the Booker T podcast a few years ago. He's awesome. I've met both Teds. Ted DiBiase Jr. was actually Dylan's first autograph that he ever got as a fan. Ted Sr. I met a couple times, and he's wonderful too. Ken, will I have RVD or will I have Shane by himself or with Bigelow and Candido? I mentioned Bigelow and Candido because that was the match where the only time I saw RVD and Shane touch was RVD, Sabu, and Taz against the Triple Threat. That's what I was kind of bringing up there. I did think about putting Cody in there instead of Goldust. So honestly, either one works. I think Cody works even better here only because then you have Cody and Ted Jr. on opposite sides too. So it balances better. So, yeah, okay. Cody instead of Dustin. You guys talked me into it. You talked me into it, kids. There we go. Ted Jr. and Ted Sr. against Dusty and Cody. All right. So next up is a match that's probably going to happen any day now, knowing Vince. But when I saw these guys go nose to nose back in November, I thought, holy shit, there's your WrestleMania main event next year. So if Vince is going to book it, well, damn it, so am I. Roman Reigns and Keith Lee. And I know, it's not a dream match. It's a dream. I want to see the match. I want to see this. I want to see this match. So it's a dream of mine to see this match. So I would book it. Roman Reigns and Keith Lee. 2 guys who Roman, doesn't get enough credit. I don't care what any of y'all say. I think Roman gets shit on way too much, and he is way undervalued. So there is that. And then you got Keith Lee, who is, just starting to make his name and starting to rise into the ranks. So I don't think Teddy DiBiase Jr. is a better talker than Cody. I think Cody has untapped potential. He's done great things on the mic the last 2.5 years. So I do disagree with you, Ken, surprisingly enough. All right. Next up is a match where I would hate to be the semi-main in this match, which is after this one, because this match is a match that has been talked about for 20 years. The one guy in the match came into the WWF as the other guy's career was pretty much at an end, and he was in WCW at the time. So they never got to touch in a professional wrestling ring. But my goodness, let this happen on my show. In a dream situation in their primes, Bret the Hitman Hart versus Kurt Angle. Let me take a moment, let y'all pop for that. Holy crap. That would be amazing. Just stellar performances here. 2 of the best, if not the 2 best, pure technical wrestlers in my entire time as a wrestling fan. Just 2 of the best ever. Throwing nukes, I actually had Shawn Michaels in my night 1 main event earlier against The Rock, and AJ Styles is coming. So stand by there. I would say heel Kurt and babyface Brett. That's what I would do. No, this is not a submission argument match. This is just two guys with no time limits, no anything. Just turn them loose, Ken. That's what I want to see right there. Just let them go to town. All right, now my semi-main is a match where if both these ladies are in their primes, it could ultimately steal any other show but mine, because my whole show is show stealers. But this is a match I had a tough time booking because I didn't know where to put the one who was one of my favorites ever. But I neglected to put her opponent in there, so I was convinced again by JJ to include this match. And it is, yes, a Lunder's picture, but I would put Medusa against Charlotte Flair. That's my semi-main. One of the greatest women's champions, one of the greatest women's wrestlers of all time. Medusa, Maselli, Alundra Blaze, whatever you want to call her, against arguably the greatest women's wrestler of this generation, Charlotte Flair. I know, debate on that forever, but I feel Charlotte's that good. And then the main event, Daniel Bryan, Chris Benoit. I actually booked that already. I did book that. Bryan Danielson versus Chris Benoit. That was my first match of this night, night 3. Main event night 3 is a match that we've all talked about over and over again in the internet wrestling community, in the dirt sheets. Every time you mention one, you mention the other when it comes to dream matches. I'm talking about Sting and The Undertaker. That's your main event of night 3. That's how Saturday night closes. This match is the one where I think even Vince goes, shit, because he didn't book it in time before Sting got hurt. And it's a shame. It's a shame that we didn't get to see it when we could have. So there you go. It is unfortunate that we didn't get to see the Stinger and the Phenom hook it up. And my God, right, the entrances, holy shit, yes. And Richard says the biggest dream match of all time, in my opinion. Burkhardt Radio says, sorry, Jeff, AEW Dark is better than your card tonight. Okay, that's one man's opinion. I think if the entrances started on Saturday night, they'd go into Sunday between the two of them, right? So, all right. So there is night 3. Night 3 is in the books. How you guys doing so far? We're an hour in. You guys doing okay? It's a long show. I got one more night to go. So I'm out of commercials too. So screw it. All right. We'll just go ahead and we'll go into night 4. F it. We'll just do the damn thing. So night 4, which is Sunday night, the big night, the main night, opens up with a match that I've seen all 4 of these guys so many times. And but I want to see them all one more time in a match that all 4 of them, one or another, made famous. I want a fatal 4-way Ultimate X match. AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels versus Frankie Kazarian. I want these guys to go in there and do what these 4 guys did in TNA for so long. I want to see these guys have an Ultimate X match to end all Ultimate X matches. And at one point or another, those 4 guys were arguably the four of the greatest wrestlers on the planet. And they're all in the same company. That's bad shit. Completely bad shit. But they're great. And I want to see them in a Ultimate X match. It would be wonderful. Match number 2 would be one of those where it has the potential to be bowling shoe ugly. Let's be honest. But it's a match that was sucked about for so long. And we never got pay money. We never hit pay dirt on this match when we had the opportunity 30 years ago. So I'm booking it here. Road Warriors against Demolition. Boom, I said it and I mean it. These four guys, Mike Hexred, Joe Laurinaitis, Bill Eadie, and Barry Darsow, Hawk, Animal, Axe and Smash. No crush. I love Brian Adams. He was on my show. Love Brian to pieces, but no. The original, well, not the original Demolition, because the original Demolition was one of them was Moondog Rex, and we can't have that. So Axe and Smash against the Legion of Doom, the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal. That's what I want to see. That's my second match of night 4. No Powers of Pain. Sorry, not a big fan of the Warlord, honestly. Although, if you go to a Warlord promo with Cowboy Bob Orton's hat, Aaron's dad's in that promo. He's eating Cowboy Bob Orton's hat. It's a real thing. Googled it. All right, match 3 is another match during the course of the weekend that will most definitely steal probably the weekend, but certainly night 4 had the potential to steal night 4 show without question. The Macho Man Randy Savage against CM Punk. Boom. There you go. Best in the world against the cream of the crop. Two guys who I've interacted with at one point or another. My dad interacted with Punk, but yeah, we talked about it when Punk was donning the Randy Savage tights when he was WWE champion. Book it. I want to see it. I really do. So there's that match. CM Punk, Randy Savage. What can you say, right? What can you say that it hasn't been said over the course of history with both these guys, right? So match 4 is another match of Trailblazers, a match of Hall of Famers, and a match of two people that were the first to do a particular thing in WWE. These two people were the first two people to enter the Royal Rumble that were not males. Beth Phoenix versus Chyna. I could not have my girl Joni. I couldn't. I could not include Joni on this. Joni and Beth would have an amazing contest. I think that Joni, for all of her lack of desire to wrestle women, would find the challenge of Beth Phoenix to be something she could sink into and really enjoy. So that's what I book. AJ Lee is not on the card, unfortunately. Although, if you want to go ahead and backwards booking there, armchair booking, Randy Savage with Elizabeth versus CM Punk with AJ Lee. There you go. The couples together. There you go. All right, so we go from a legendary battle of two Hall of Fame wrestling males. Punk may be a Hall of Famer. From two Hall of Fame females to a pair of 2 3-man teams who are just ridiculous on the mic. They are amazing. I love them both. One inducted the other into the WWE Hall of Fame. Hell with it. Let's book it. The New Day versus the Fabulous Freebirds. Oh, yes. Now I'm talking Buddy Jack Roberts. The picture is actually Jimmy Jam Garvin. It should be Terry Bam Bam Gordy, not Jimmy Jam. So no disrespect to Jimmy Jam, but it should be the Freebirds, Gordy, Roberts, and Hayes against the New Day. That's how I'd book it. Again, 3-on-3. Texas rules, because that's where the Freebirds got their over there. Let's see where we at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so match number 6. I don't know if you'd call it what I called it on my little graphic here, but I did like the idea of the NXT Fight Pit being the setting for this match because I know Randy. The thing is, Reporter Radio with Randy and Punk is that I wanted to be in the last night, but I already have a main event for the night. So the thing is, they're booking WrestleMania like this too, where they have like main event matches early on, right? So There you go. Caleb Jacobs with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Caleb. Says, imagine Kofi in the match facing off against Michael Hayes. Awesome. Dude, exactly. The whole thing would be great. And there you go. Big E and Terry Gordy one-on-one would be great. Exactly. There you go, Ken. I agree with it wholeheartedly. So, all right. So we're asking for match number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Match number 6, like I said, will take place in the NXT Fight Pit, unless you guys come up with something better for me. Maybe the Lion's Den for this, or whatever the case may be. I'd book a match that I've wanted to see personally for a long time. I'm not a fan of one guy at all, and the other guy, not a fan of him in the ring, but he's a hell of a movie actor. Brock Lesnar versus Batista in the Fight Pit. That's what I would do. Brock Lesnar versus Big Dave. Just turn these guys loose, bare knuckle, toe-to-toe, straight up fight, beat the shit out of each other, and let God sort it out. Just like, okay, don't hurt each other. Don't kill each other. Tremendous. Just, it would be a fight. Straight up fight. Would love it. Just love it. All right, third to last. So match 7 would be a match. And again, people are going to crap me for not having one of these guys be by himself in a match one-on-one, but I didn't know where else to put him. I'd had so many friggin' matches already. I didn't want to have to come up with something else. So what I did was I put a bunch of friends together. That's exactly what I did. The original Wolfpack. Hall, Nash, X-Pac versus DX. Hunter and the Outlaws. And I know Hunter deserves a one-on-one showcase by himself against, any of these guys you've seen in the course of these matches tonight. But it is what it is. This is what I want to see. Wolfpack against DX. There you go. So semi-main for the final night, the second to last match, the match before the match. My all-time favorite wrestler, women's wrestler, versus my Twitter buddy, one of my favorite people right now, Trish Stratus versus Natalya. There you go. I want to see Trish and Natty in a one-on-one setting on a grand stage. That's what I want to see. I really do. I feel Natty is grossly underrated. So there you go. And yes, I did have 2 6-man tags on this card. Report Radio. To be honest, that was kind of a faux pas. My bad. But both those teams deserve it, right? They both deserve the last day spotlight. So there you go. I could have put Hunter versus Harley. I could have done that. That's very true. But again, I want to make sure the Outlaws got on there because I love the Outlaws, and I want to make sure that the Wolfpack got on there. So Lita was actually on there earlier against Becky Lynch, nails and throwing nukes, and Sasha's teaming with Bayley against Lay Cool. That was night 1, I think. So again, go back and watch. Natty is not older than Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus is older than Natty. So there you go. All right. Before I get to my main event, and you guys want one of those already, come on. I do want to throw in some honorable mentions. Vince McMahon versus Ted Turner, one-on-one. I want to see that. The real Ted Turner versus the real Vince McMahon in their primes. I'll mention. Eric Bischoff versus Paul Heyman, one-on-one to the death. Right? And Jim Cornette versus Vince Russo in a Bobby Eaton on the pole match. There you go. That's what I want to see. All right. The main event, as if you guys didn't know, based on everybody you've seen, who you haven't seen, my favorite of all time against the man that Vince McMahon has called the greatest WWF champion of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Hulk Hogan. Now, here's CM Punk is facing Randy Savage, Adrian. You must have missed that earlier. I debated long and hard. Do I put Steve against Hulk Hogan or against Hollywood Hogan. And I couldn't decide. And I thought, honestly, I want to see the red and yellow. I want to hear Real American. I want to see Hulk Hogan 1987 against Steve Austin from 1997. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. Caleb Jenkins with $2 super chat says, how about Jim Ross versus Morrow? No, I don't. JR made it very clear on Grilling JR a couple weeks ago that he is not going back in the ring ever again. I wouldn't book it even when he was in his prime. I did see Russo and Cornette. I said it earlier. Russo and Cornette and a Bobby Eaton on the pole match. I couldn't think of anybody else to put in the pole. So there it is, guys. 36 matches, 4 nights straight. Here's where you guys come in as I get ready to close the show here. I am requesting that somebody out there who is deeply, intimately knowledgeable of the WWE video games or whatever wrestling video game you wish to use, that has enough roster spots and move sets of guys that aren't on the game roster to create the guys that are on the roster. Program this card. 4 nights worth. 9 matches a night. This is what I want to see. This is what I want to see. I want this match to be the match that this card to be booked and presented on the network here. And what I'd like to do is start the new year, January 1st, 2021, year 2 of Jeff Meach'S Network, with broadcasting this card, this 4-night event. That's what I want to see. So if you guys, if somebody out there is willing to put in the work, put in the effort, you can't see it, it's too damn small. Okay, I'll put it up there on my social media later today. If somebody is willing to do this, and wishes to program this. Somebody asked earlier about the commentary on these matches. Who would be the commentators? If you guys can program this in a way where the commentary on the game is not included in the match play, whoever comes up with the best programming of the card, the 4-night card, can sit in on commentary with yours truly and call the show. That's what I want. I want whoever books this, I want to have on commentary with me because they've got the genius idea. And I'll tell you what, surprise me. I don't care who goes over in any of these matches. But you guys book it, you guys program it, and I will take a look when you guys are all done, if you wish to, and you can be on commentary with me for who goes over. So yeah. If you guys want to tell me to tell you who goes over in the matches, when you contact me about programming the card, the 4-night show, then we'll talk from there. So there it is. All right. So tomorrow on the Jeff Meach'S Network side of things, actually today, I believe Aaron is doing the NXT review after NXT tonight. I think. I don't know that, but I think so. Anyway, I don't have an updated graphic, but you saw the commercial. Tomorrow on Wrestling Rewind, if Greg and I get to do it, we're going to do the 2002 world title match between Ric Flair and Triple H from Raw on September 2nd. So that'll be tomorrow's Wrestling Rewind. And be on commentary with me. You guys can call the show And the thing is, if you program it, I won't know when I'm calling. So there you go. Whatever you guys want to do, however you guys want to book it how you want to book it, program the matches, do your thing, and then let me know when you come up with something, and we'll get on video and we'll do the damn thing. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been almost an hour and a half. Holy crap. I've been talking a long damn time. Yes. NXT is tonight. It's Super Tuesday on the USA Network. Fatal 4-way 60-minute Iron Man match to determine the new NXT champion. That's coming up in a little under an hour and a half over on USA. So get on the USA Network and watch that shit tonight, guys. And then same time, 8 o'clock, 7 Central. 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific, if you're watching like me. And then Aaron Rich will be on after that with a full recap of NXT. That's coming up tonight at 10 o'clock Eastern, right around there. So, again, thank you guys. We'll see you next time here on the Jeff Meach'S Network.